says when it's budget cutting time, they always start with the easiest targets. And you see, we got a baby on here.
Yeah.
Kids really are the easiest targets. So the reason that is because kids don't vote. And so since they don't vote, who's their voice when talking to lawmakers? And that's our children. We step in, we try to speak out for them because kids, babies like this, they can't speak out for themselves. To make sure the lawmakers are thinking about the kind of policies that are going to affect kids and how their decisions are going to affect the children in our state. So that's the most important thing that we do.
All right.
And it's also a reason why Love Utah, Give Utah is so important for us. Because we do have we seek out grants from foundations that give us a lot of help in doing research about the best policies for children. But what those grants don't do is most of them exclude lobbying. So we're talking to our lawmakers. And it's really important that we not only find out how to help kids, but that we implement that in our policies. And so the money that we get through things like this, through Love Utah, Give Utah, is very useful to us because it makes it possible for us to actually go talk to lawmakers and explain to them which policies will help our children and which ones won't.
For instance, give us some specific instances maybe from this last session of the legislature. What was Voices for Utah Children lobbying for this last session?
All right, so some important things that happened during the last legislative session. We had some good things happen and we had some not so good things happen. So I'll start with the good because I like to think positively. So we did have some important steps taken to prevent discrimination to LGBT community and also to breastfeeding mothers. That's really important for family security. And so
the breastfeeding mother thing was you can't discriminate in the workplace.
It's against a breastfeeding mother, right? And also there were some accommodations made for state and other public employees so that they can have accommodations ready for them when they need to nurse or pump at work, which is very important because I've been a breastfeeding mother and you can't keep doing your job if you can't pump. So it's very important.
My radio partner Gina had to go hide in the prize closet at X96 and pump, and she was not happy with that.
We also had some good progress made with reducing our dependence on earmarks. We have a lot of transportation earmarks in Utah that are slowly ripping away all of our funding for everything else, social services, education. And so we need to be more careful in our fiscal policy. And so they made some good first steps towards being more fiscally responsible that way so that we have money for the children. And there were also some good things done with child abuse. They ended the statute of limitation on child abuse victims, and that is very important because one thing that we know about pedophiles is that pedophilia is a long-term condition. And a lot of times by the time these pedophiles by the time their victims become adults, they are no longer harming those victims, but they've moved on to younger children. And so it's important that whenever these crimes are uncovered that they can be prosecuted, they can be taken care of. And so that's really good.
And thanks to, I think, Representative Ken Ivory had a lot to do with that, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yes, we're very grateful to him for his work on that. Some not so great things happened is that we had a wonderful plan, the Healthy Utah plan, that was in place that would have given lots of families health insurance, and there was a lot of support with that. Not from nonprofits, from healthcare organizations, from the business community, and in spite of all of this broad public support, they didn't make it happen. The good news is we're still working on that the governor's working on a compromise with those lawmakers that weren't so into providing health care to poor families. And we are working on probably having a special session this summer. And so we're excited about that, and we're still hopeful that those families will be able to get health coverage.
So that's Voices for Utah Children. That's just an example. You can see the tireless work. I mean, you guys, and you do this every session of the legislature, right?
Absolutely, and we do it throughout the year with Congress. Just today in Congress, they're voting on whether to extend CHIP. Now, if they don't extend CHIP, then we're going to have 35,000 Utah children that will lose their health insurance. So that's very important.
So Voices for Utah Children is part of a larger Voices for Children. Is that what it is?
Yes. Here in Utah, we advocate with our Utah legislature. We also partner with organizations that support children nationwide to make sure that our federal policies also support children.
So what is your website?
UtahChildren.org.
UtahChildren.org is where you want to go to make a donation to that nonprofit, or again, you can do it through LoveUtah.org. The children need lobbyists too. Thanks for doing it.
Thank you.
April, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
There it is.